Last of Us Season 1, Episode 1. Oh my gosh, I must say, it is amazing. Like, thinking about, this Last of Us, a video game, it was really, really good. Like, it's like literally one of the best games of all time on PlayStation, on PS4, even for PS5. The Last of Us Part 2 is pretty good. Probably not as good as the first part, but The Last of Us is a pretty good game. So going into this, I kind of had my, my reservations, because I'm like, oh man, like, I wonder how close would it be to the source material? Like, is it gonna be the same? Is it gonna have the same feel? Like, are we going to get, different, storylines or certain things that didn't happen in the game? So I was really nervous, because sometimes when you hear about these series, you like, is it really going to deviate? But I must say, it does not disappoint. It does not disappoint. Right away, going into it, I saw Sarah, and I love what they did with Sarah. I remember playing as Sarah in the beginning of the game, and they even have that part, when she's waking up and it's dark and she's moving around the house and the house is actually dark. So that element is also in the game, but in the show. But the great thing about it is that there's this whole backstory for Sarah. Like, they go into the backstory, they go into who she was, the type of person she was, her character, her personality, and she's a lot older than she was in the game. So I love that element to it. I love to see who she was. I love to see, a little bit more of the Watch. The Watch is a big part of the game in the first one. So it was pretty cool to see her relationship with that Watch, and how she gave it to Joel, and what that meant for him, and that dynamic and between him and his daughter. That was pretty cool to see that. Also, it was pretty cool to see, how she was interacting with the neighbors, how she went to school, and when she's at school, she kind of had these eerie feelings like something was going on, but she just couldn't put her hand on it. The Last of Us, it opens up, obviously, to the scene where, oh my gosh, like, they did it back from, like, the I think it was like the 80s, or it was like the 80s, and they were talking about how, the infection, viruses, like, they would never be able to, or fungus will never be able to survive in human beings, but they said, what if they did? So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. The only thing that's a little bit different is that the timeline is actually 2003, and 20 years later to 2023, I guess, to match where we are today, versus in the game was 2013 and 2033. So other than that, a lot of things were kind of similar. Like when they were driving in the truck, you saw the house on fire. Also, you saw where they didn't want to save those people, and also, like, even throughout it, where you had that big explosion, it was pretty cool. So yeah, it was really good. And that, and beat for beat, almost, how, spoiler warning, how Sarah died, it was touching, man. It breaks your heart. Like, oh my gosh. And it was much more meaningful in the show than it was in the game, because in the game, I guess in the game, that was like the catalyst for Joel being who he was. So you see how much more it meant for Joel in the show, because they had so much time to go over the backstory for Sarah and show that dynamic between Sarah and Joel, and how Joel needed Sarah, like, to get it right, to put a shirt on the right way, or to make sure he's cooking, or whatever he does. Like in the series, it almost feels as if Sarah is Joel's compass. Like, he's the one that kind of keeps in check and keep him on the right path. So it's pretty cool to see that. But when she died, in the TV show, man, it felt so much more heartbreaking, because, like, oh my gosh, look at all that I just witnessed with the backstory, and she's gone, and it's like, that was tough. But then you jump into Ellie. Oh my gosh, I think they did Ellie pretty good. They nailed Ellie right, because Ellie in this had the same mannerisms, has the same, persona like she had in the game. And the Fireflies, I love that whole dynamic. So overall, looking at the whole episode 1, I give it 5 out of 5. It was so good. Like it really set up the rest of the season. Like if you just watch the first episode, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm ready for more. And you might be like, man, why is it only 1 episode? So I think that for this series, for those of you who haven't played The Last of Us because you don't have a PlayStation, this is your opportunity to kind of get what people are talking about when they're talking about the game. Like, it is amazing. I recommend watching this show, watching this series. It is not going to disappoint. The Last of Us is really good. Pedropascal, he does an amazing job as Joel. Nicoparker, she does an amazing job as Sarah. And so it's really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else comes for the rest of the episodes. Maybe we get a little bit more. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. What do you think about The Last of Us episode 1? Did you like it? Did you not? What would you rate it? All right, guys. Until next time. Peace.